all eyes will be on the first week of this year's Tour de France, where we'll have a flavour of the classics with the Mer de Huy and the cobbled sections as well. Now I'm joined now by Michael Hutchison and Nick Ball. Nick, talk us through what we'll see from stage 5 this year going forward.
I think the second half of week 1 is where the sprinters get to show themselves. The first real chance of glory after the kind of classic couple of stages into Amiens on stage 5. That basically screams out sprint stage. If a breakaway getaway on that one, I think I'll end up beating my hat. The following day into Le Havre could be quite a tricky one, particularly again if the winds blow from across the channel.
That's kind of crosswinds, isn't it? That was the best stage of the 2013 tour. Was a crosswind stage, the one that Cav
won, and Froome got dropped. The tricky kind of part of that stage, actually at the end, there's a little finishing climb into Le Havre, which may sort out a bit of a running order and kind of distance a few sprinters. It's quite reminiscent of the stage into Cap Fréhel, which Cav won in 2011, when people didn't actually give him much of a chance. I think people were saying it's a bit of a Philippe Gilbert stage, and he actually got the better of the then Lotto rider. So that's an interesting one. The following day into Fougères, I think we both agree that's almost
got sprint written all over it, yeah.
Sprint stage.
Hutch, over to your expertise. Team time trial on stage 9. What are we looking at here?
It's an interesting team time trial because it's not flat. It's really quite hilly, and it finishes up a 1.7 kilometre, 6% climb. So anyone who is kind of hanging off the back coming into the finish is going to be a lot further off the back by the time they get to the top. So actually we could see some reasonably big time gaps opening up. Quite short, it's only 28 kilometres, so it's only going to take half an hour to ride, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see some teams really struggling with the end of it. Particularly the team you always think of, the word struggle and time trial, points straight to AG2R, which is exactly the kind of team they could really struggle. And of course they've got contenders like Bardet and Perot, so they're going to be very nervous about that. For the win, you're probably looking at the usual team time trial contenders of BMC, Orica, maybe Sky. And they'll be very keen with the overall contenders they've got to try and get a little bit of a gap between maybe some of the French riders on the team time trial, particularly on that last hill.
It's quite a nasty stage, particularly after what comes before it, when the race revisits the Mur de Bretagne. The stage finished there in 2011, in which Alberto Contador celebrated a victory, even though he hadn't actually won. Cadel Evans just about beat him to the line. And it's again like the Mer de Huy. The first part of that climb is basically named off the French word for wall. So it is tough. It's a little bit longer than the Mer de Huy as well, and it's got some pretty steep sections. Again, it's another little showdown of the GC contenders. You might get a couple of classics guys like a Kwiatkowski or Gilbert in there, but I expect to see the real big hitters in the race leading across the line on that day.
But it'll be different from the very early stages in the Mer de Huy, because the race will have a shape by then. Yes. Some people will be in the mix, some people are ready to be out of the mix. So it's the way the race becomes progressively more focused.
Yes, it's a much wider road as well. So positioning on that climb at the bottom of it, while it's still important, it won't be as important as the Mer de Huy as well, which will be a benefit if someone does get caught out or has a puncture with 20k to go and is fighting back to the peloton.
Hutch, I mean, looking at the bigger picture of the whole race this year, how important are the time trials going to be? Are they as significant as previous years? Oh,
they're not as significant as previous years because there's just less of them, and there's not very much individual time trialling at all. There's going to be more change, I think. There's going to be more texture added to the race by that team time trial, particularly because there will be some gaps opening up. But I think it's much more... It always feels a bit hackneyed to say you can't win the race on a particular stage, but you can lose it. But I think with the team time trial, that's exactly what it is. The contenders will want to get round in their teams in touch at the top of that final climb. Somebody, be it Thibaut Pinot or Perot or Bardet, will end up in trouble. But most of the people who are going to get around the time trials aren't, I don't think, going to be decisive this year.
Definitely. Well, thank you again for joining me in the studio today. Now, get involved, join the conversation about this year's Tour de France 2015 edition over on Twitter using the handle @CyclingWeekly, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.